world changes, we'll keep you up to date with the latest information. News Talk KVNU 102 FM 610 AM.
KVNU News Time is 5:05. I'm Bill Walter with this news update brought to you by Northern Steel Buildings. Today was packed with COVID-19 news, with Utah Governor Spencer Cox calling for flags to be lowered in honor of the lives lost to the disease, and later in the day announcing he had tested positive for the virus. The governor joined President Biden in authorizing that U.S. and state flags be lowered on all state facilities, remaining at half staff through sunset Monday. Early today, the president said his action marks a tragic milestone, 1 million American lives lost to COVID-19. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention said that by today, COVID-19 deaths nationwide had reached 995,747. In April, Utah moved into a new phase of its COVID response, the steady state, and in what is now a weekly report of COVID statistics, the Utah Department of Health announced today the state has seen 4,761 COVID-19 deaths since the start of the pandemic. Since the state's May 5th COVID update of almost 3,400 new cases were detected in the past 7 days statewide. Utah officials have focused on the 7-day testing average of new cases while also looking at wastewater analysis, hospitalizations, and emergency room visits to identify outbreaks. The Bear River Health Department reported Monday that there have been 247 COVID-19 deaths in the district, which includes Cache, Box Elder, and Rich counties. Among the 186,818 residents in the district, there have been nearly 52,000 cases of the virus. Just over 71% of the three-county population has received at least one dose of the vaccine. In becoming one of about 940,000 Utahns to contract the virus, the governor said that he began experiencing a scratchy throat late Wednesday night and was tested this morning. The governor said today that so far he feels fine. Like so many Utahns, he's been vaccinated and boosted, but he said COVID eventually touches us all. He says if you feel sick, please stay away from others, and if you have not yet, please get vaccinated. KVNU News Time is 5:07. KVNU weather, mostly cloudy tonight, low in the mid-30s, partly cloudy day tomorrow, high temperature in the low 60s with west winds 10 to 20 miles an hour in the afternoon. Mostly cloudy Saturday, high temperature around 70 degrees. It's 58 right now at KVNU. KVNU weather brought to you by Logan Extermination. Pesky weeds are popping up all over your lawn. Get a hold of the Terminator, Logan Extermination, to be ready for summer. They'll come to you and terminate those ugly weeds. Call Logan Extermination today, 752-8450.
The wind is whipping, rain is pouring, branches are falling, and it could hail at any minute. How could you leave your baby out in that storm?
Well, I can't park her in the house. Oh, baby, Daddy loves you. I'm so sorry. What can I do?
Call Northern Steel Buildings to protect your baby. We build custom agricultural buildings, barns, arenas, warehouses, and equipment storage that's built to last. Schedule a free consultation at northernsteelbuilding.com. That's northernsteelbuilding.com. Value from concept to construction.
KVNU News Time 5:09. Of course, there's COVID, but there's also bird flu. The Utah DWR on Wednesday reported the first case of bird flu confirmed in wild birds and asked the public not to touch dead birds. According to a release from the Division of Wildlife Resources, the great horned owl was found dead in Cache County on April 29th and sent to the Utah Veterinary Diagnostic Laboratory for testing. It was then sent to the National Veterinary Services Laboratory in Ames, Iowa, which confirmed the bird had high pathogenic avian influenza. 5 additional great horned owls have been found dead in Cache and Weber counties, and the Utah DWR is awaiting their test results. While the highly contagious avian influenza was confirmed in domestic birds in Utah last month, this is the first case of the virus in a wild bird after a dead great horned owl tested positive. Bird flu is very contagious among birds and can cause rapid death in domestic birds such as chickens, turkeys, and domestic ducks. These viruses occasionally kill wild birds as well. Although the current strain of the avian flu presents a low risk to humans, it has been confirmed in at least one person in Colorado during this most recent outbreak. And one person died in a crash involving an SUV and a motorcycle in downtown Salt Lake City. First responders were called to the intersection of 400 South and West Temple just before 4:30 p.m. Wednesday. It was just outside the Orrin Hatch U.S. Courthouse. Officials said Police Chief Mike Brown was in the area when the crash happened. Brown immediately began blocking traffic and notified dispatch of the collision. Community members had already started life-saving procedures on the victim before Brown had arrived. The motorcyclist, identified as 36-year-old Josue Vega, died at the scene. KVNU News Time, 5:11. For more details on these and other stories, visit CacheValleyDaily.com.
The local news source. News Talk KVNU 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
Cache Valley's biggest party, the Cache Valley Cruise-In, is celebrating 40 years. 40 years of classic cars, concerts, and giveaway cars. This year, the Cruising Association is giving away 2 cars to one lucky winner. A 93 Chevy Corvette and a 68 Ford Mustang. Cache Valley Cruising, Cache Valley Cruising. Your entry ticket to the Cruise-In gives you a chance at winning both cars. June 30th through July 2nd, over 1,000 classic cars, motorcycles, hot rods, and custom builds from around the country. Enjoy delicious all-American food and live music featuring Granger Smith, with special guest Earl Dibbles Jr. and opening act Sawyer Brown. Buy tickets today at Lee's Marketplace or online on the Cache Valley Cruise-In website. June 30th through July 2nd at the Cache County Fairgrounds.
This is Sweetwater Window Cleaning. Now spring is here, you'll be wanting to reclaim your home from all that dirt and grime. Why not have us take care of the window cleaning for you? I'm sure you've got plenty on your to-do list already. And let's face it, when you climb that dangerous ladder to clean your own windows, they never come out as good as you'd like. Let us give you that safe, crystal clean, professional results you want. Mention this ad and we'll remove hard water for free.
Sweetwater Window Cleaning, 3636543, 3636543.
All right, dads, let's test your knowledge. Ready? What does this sound? Some of the more experienced parents recognize it as the sound a young teenager makes when he's done something he regrets. Listen. Kind of a sad sound, isn't it? But if you recognized it, then you know exactly what to do. Listen, because that's when together you can both figure out how not to make the same mistake again.
This message from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. Maybe you're not sure how you'll make rent, or you lost your job. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light. Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need.
211, how can I help you?
Call or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected. Get help. A message from United Way and the Ad Council.
The Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council present the story of Cynthia and Ed.
My mother was always very active and independent, and she was familiar with her neighborhood. But one day, out of the blue, she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual. And she didn't know whether she should go forward or turn or just stay at the stop sign. She wasn't even really sure where she was at. She was very concerned. It was very unsettling for her.
It's important for you to talk to someone about it, to bring the family in on it. I felt so much better after my son told me, Mom, I don't want you to worry or be afraid. I'll be there for you and we'll figure it out.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
This is Police Chief Gary Jensen from Logan City Police Department. A number of scams are occurring throughout our city and county. These scams are highly emotional and demand immediacy that you pay, and you pay now. They will say they are from the IRS, the Sheriff's Office, the Police Department, utility companies, medical facilities, or even romance scams. The scammers do their homework. They can do a simple check on the internet of your name and find out where you live, where you used to live, even people that are associated with your name. They are always highly emotional phone calls that demand immediate payment or something bad will happen. Slow down and diffuse by asking questions. If they want you to pay with Bitcoin or gift cards, this is a scam. Be careful. Hang up the phone call is the best thing that you can do. Again, slow down and think. React by hanging up and don't become a victim.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. Getting a bit of a late start on hour 2 here, as important things sometimes happen behind the scenes here at the Radio Ranch. Just a little news for everyone just to kind of confirm, unconfirm. So a debate had been planned with the candidates in the Utah House, as we're calling it here on the show, 3/2, as that number will change. Been House District 3 for, my lifetime. It's about to change to House District 2. That's simply because of redistricting. It's literally just a matter of the order of the numbers changing on the map. So the district itself, shape and boundary-wise, doesn't change. We also still have, the 3 representatives in the Utah House here in Cache Valley, and that doesn't change either, but the number only changes. So there is some confusion about that. People have seen, Val Potter for House District 2 and thought to themselves, I think, I live in House District 3. Well, not for long, do you live in House District 3? So just want to clear that up. But I said yesterday on the show, before we had a chance to sit down and speak with Representative Mike Peterson, one of the candidates in that race as well, running for re-election there, being challenged by former state lawmaker Val Potter. Before that interview, I mentioned that a debate had been planned for June 2nd. Before the end of the show, that had been changed to June 9th. And unfortunately, now it sounds like that debate might not happen. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I know the organizers, Les, if you're listening, hello. I know that the organizers are trying hard to still make this happen. Both candidates are very interested, from what I've heard. But schedule-wise, for example, Mike himself, Representative Peterson, has a family commitment, a wedding on June 9th, so that won't work. The county courthouse wasn't available the evening of June 2nd, so a lot of things are just kind of throwing wrenches in this left and right. We don't have, here on the show, we don't have a debate planned, but what we do plan to do is reach out to them again for individual spotlights, and then what I'd like to do as well is get a list of questions from listeners that you might have for the candidates. What we'll do is something kind of unique here on the show. We'll take these questions that listeners send in. If you have a question, if you're in House District 3/2, it's changing to 2 again, with redistricting a done deal. If you're in that district and you have a question for Representative Mike Peterson, former Representative Val Potter, either of the 2 Republican candidates in this primary, send them in, and what we'll do is we'll collect the questions, and then I'll sit down with both of the candidates here in the studio, and we'll have them both answer the same questions, and if possible, we'll do that back to back. and provide some contrast between the two candidates. That is, I think, the most useful thing when you're weighing candidates in a primary. In a primary, the voters that are going to weigh in this primary are all Republicans. In fact, only Republicans could weigh in a Republican primary here in Utah. And so all the voters are going to be Republicans. And oftentimes the complaint I hear from friends who are weighing candidates is it's sometimes hard to find a distinction. And I think part of that is that everything's so bumper sticker slogan driven these days. You look at a lot of candidates' websites and there's not a lot of meat to it. They're just using all the right buzzwords and phrases. And in Utah, sadly, that's enough as long as they're a Republican. In this race, I think you have two candidates, both with experience. Val Potter with several years' experience in the legislature. Representative Peterson now with 2 years' experience. Both of them with a different outlook on what the agenda should be for the legislature going forward and what some of the biggest problems facing Cache Valley are. As one contrast I can provide, having interviewed them both now at least once, Val Potter, if I were to paraphrase his most pressing issues facing Cache Valley, all of it kind of ties back to growth in some way. So if elected, Representative Potter plans to go to the legislature and tackle those types of issues in a way that makes sure Cache Valley, this is our biggest risk right now, doesn't get taken advantage of. Because there are people eyeing up our water. We're trying to deal with projections of massive growth, though not as large as some other parts of the state, but still, in the next 10, 15, 20 years, almost a 60% increase to our population, and it's not stopping there. So that was, as we had former Representative Potter in the studio, he talked a lot about that. So if I had to guess at an agenda, it would be that. Yesterday, we had Representative Mike Peterson in the studio running for re-election, being challenged by Potter in that re-election bid. And Representative Peterson said that his agenda would be more focused on, he said, the loss of rights that people are feeling and experiencing due to the pandemic and other things. So you have two people coming from very different perspectives, and voters are going to respond differently to these types of things. And that's just one example. And I think drawing those distinctions is, as we've heard from a lot of listeners, sometimes tough when it's a Republican primary here in Utah. So again, what we'd like to do is get listeners to send in questions. If you're in House District 3 that is about to become House District 2, where this race is playing out, and you're trying to decide between Potter and Peterson, send us a question. We'll collect 3 or 4 questions for each candidate, and then we'll get them here in the studio and let them both, if we can't do it at the same time, we'll have them back to back, and we'll get them both to answer the questions, and you can see how each one approaches these 3 or 4 topics and questions from listeners differently. So email your questions in to kvnuftp@gmail.com. Last week on the show, we had Cache County Executive David Zook and Cache County Clerk and Auditor Jess Bradfield in the studio. And part of that conversation, most of the conversation focused on the importance of audits, at a level of transparency that sadly here in for the Cache County government at least had been kind of put on the back burner for a couple of decades. New clerk and auditor, well, he's been there a couple of years now, but Jess Bradfield coming in as clerk and auditor wanted to fire that audit machine back up, and he did. It's a great way to inject transparency into your county government or any government, and it is welcome, in my opinion, to see these audits happening regularly again. That said, there have been those who felt, as Jess told us last week, maybe targeted by these audits. There were others who may be struggling with a little bit of having power for a long time and then seeing it challenged, which you see in government all the time, that were just offended that it wasn't run by them first. We've heard all of these stories. It's played out in several different ways, and it last month came to a head when there was an altercation after the county council meeting in which Cache County Executive David Zook was threatened by a council member. That council member, Paul Borup, later apologized, though not apologizing to Zook directly apologized to the council and said, this is my behavior was inappropriate. And last week, County Executive David Zook told us that this isn't just Borup, this isn't just this one event, that there's a bit of a pattern here, and even some county staff are feeling afraid to cross certain people or speak up in certain situations. And Zook said that's unfortunate and a climate that needs to change. At the time, the audio of the exchange from the county council meeting where things got a little bit feisty was not available. It has been made available, although just last night the county council went ahead and authorized just kind of burying the minutes from this meeting, which is an unfortunate thing for any elected group to decide to do. But we do have the audio of it and some clips from Mr. Zook's comments while here in the studio last week, and we'll get to both of those right after this.
Jessup Insurance would like to invite you to attend a friendly, no-pressure, no-cost educational Medicare 101 meeting Wednesday, May 18th. Get to know Jessup Insurance as they guide you through Medicare, simplifying the entire process, all while enjoying a yummy dessert. Wednesday, 7 p.m., May 18th at Jessup Insurance. Call 213-3200 to reserve a seat or drop by for more information.
Jessup Insurance and Retirement Services. Let us guide you.
Hi, this is Gordon Deal. Friday on This Morning, America's First News. President Biden's focus on inflation is an enormous political challenge with 6 months to go before the November midterms. We'll explain why. Also, there's a chance the so-called Great Resignation could become the Forever Resignation. What if employees continue to change jobs so quickly? And protecting your finances from Fed rate hikes. Friday on This Morning, America's First News. From 4 to 6 on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102 FM. Your station for news and talk.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 in the morning, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
We are there in your community. Small business owners, mechanics, police officers, homemakers. And we are there serving our nation in the Air Force Reserve. When medical emergencies arise, we meet the challenge. In cybersecurity, protecting and defending in cyberspace. When natural disasters happen, we are there in space. As a strong part of the nation's defense, we are there in the community and we are there for our nation. We share a vision to make a difference, united and focused, taking pride in being there in service of our country. We are Reserve Citizen Airmen, and we are there with over 180 different jobs to serve your country. Air Force Reserve.
Welcome back to KVN News for the People. Take 2 on Teena Horlacher joining us. There was some confusion over the interview that we had planned for Tuesday's show, but she was available to reschedule and will be joining us at 5:40 after the news to talk about the upcoming Utah Liberty Festival. So stay tuned for that. Right now, though, this audio hasn't been available until this week, and so we wanted to make sure to take a listen ourselves. For those who haven't followed the story closely, short version, there's some contention between different branches of government in Cache County, and a lot of different opinions on who's right or who's wrong, I guess you'd say, in the public out there. But the way it appears to me is you have some folks who have been elected to certain offices and have a job to do, and they've started doing it aggressively, which I think is a good thing, especially if you're talking things like audits and transparency. There are others, I feel, that have been in county government for a long time that have maybe taken a little bit of this personally and responded in kind, and then things have just escalated. That's my take. I have no insider information to back that up, just my observation. Either way, it came to a head during a county council meeting in which a county council member threatened Cache County Executive David Zook. The council member apologized at the next council meeting to the council, not Zook, and said his behavior was inappropriate. Last week, we had Cache County Executive David Zook and also Cache County Clerk and Auditor Jess Bradfield, although he was here to talk about the audits and what they revealed. County Executive David Zook took a few minutes at the start of the show to respond to all of this and said he didn't feel that the apology was enough, and that there's a culture or a pattern here that exists within county government that he feels needs to be dealt with, because he said there are staff members who are also afraid both of speaking their mind or crossing the wrong people, and he said that's not healthy in any form of government, which I'd have to agree. So that brings us up to the release of this audio, which I have to mention again because I'm a little irritated about it as a transparency advocate. This comes a day after the county council allowed themselves to bury the minutes from all of this, from the previous meetings. We should never applaud any governing entity burying a record, but they did. And it's just the minutes, so there's still the audio you can find on the website and things like that. It's not the end of the world, but it's still, don't like it. Anyway, so here we have some of the clips from this, both the original audio from the feisty exchange where the county council and county executive were having a bit of back and forth about all of this, and then Mr. Zook's comments from our show last week. First up here, audio from that county council meeting where all of this kind of came to a head.
I can explain to you exactly what's going on here, if any of you have questions about what's happening. This is a personal attack against me and my office and my staff. The funding that was just explained is the funding that pays for Janine's position. Those are the funding pots that are used to pay for Janine's position.
Madam Chair, I ask decorum. That's a personal attack on us, and it's not acceptable, and it's a point of order.
I'm explaining where this is.
I resent that. It's not personal.
All right. I've had enough of all of this. It's done. All of this personal stuff that's going on and everything has been very hard for me to be a chair of this whole council. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of having to listen to it. I'm tired of having to feel like I am the mediator. I'm tired of it. So let's just settle down. Let's calm down. Let's not put anything personal in it. Let's take care of business and do what needs to be done as a council. That's it. Okay?
That again was audio, and you hear the chair, who is one of the quietest people I've ever met. Just quiet, calm, but you can hear the council chair there. She's had it, and scolding her fellow council members on what she said was, personal attacks. This had all gotten very personal for I assume, more than one council member. Again, I can add my observational take. I don't have any information to really say what all this is about, but from the outside, it very much looks like you have an elected governing body in the county council upset that others are doing their jobs. including jobs that might include audits and transparency and an executive office with its own job to do. It looks, again, from the outside, I could be wrong, it looks like you have a county council that has basically run the show for a long time, and now they're kind of upset at that. That's my take. Hearing the chair upset, if you've ever watched a council meeting and seen her and her behavior, hearing her upset as much as you did there in that audio lets you know this has really gone to extremes. So we had Cache County Executive David Zook in the studio last week, weeks after this event that you just heard audio from happened at the county council meeting. And here's what he had to say in the studio last week about all of this.
Jess and I, we kind of knew we were signing up for something a little more stressful than usual.
Sure.
When you run for office, you know that you're subjecting yourself to criticism and attacks and all of those things. And that's why a lot of people stay out of this business. Is they don't want to subject themselves to that.
It's true.
So we kind of knew we were signing up for that kind of thing. Although that doesn't mean it's okay for people to threaten elected officials. That's never appropriate.
That was, again, Cache County Executive David Zook responding to all of this. I have reached out to, at least the handful of council members I know have been directly involved in this back and forth between the council and the executive. And if we get a response, we will invite them on the show as well to talk about this. But I don't know what else to say. We'll be back with Teena Horlacher. She's going to be talking to us about an upcoming conference in Salt Lake City called the Utah Liberty Festival. Teena joins us right after these headlines with KVNU's Bill Walter.
Thank you, Jason. KVNU News Time is 5:36, and the news is brought to you by Roof Rescue. A big feature of Smithfield Health Days is the Fun Run. That will be held Saturday morning at 7:30 a.m. with staggered start from Smithfield's Mack Park. Registration continues until race time for the 10K, 5K, and the Mayor's Mile. Other events include the Smithfield Chamber Pancake Breakfast Saturday morning from 8 to 9:30 in the Smithfield Youth Center. A book sale Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. on the East Lawn in front of the old part of the library building. It is a cash-only book sale, and it's also the 100-year anniversary for the Smithfield Public Library. You can see the display in the Smithfield Youth Center. The Health Days Parade will take place Saturday morning at 10 along Main Street from 300 South to 300 North in Smithfield. The horse polls will be held Saturday at noon at Forester Acres Equestrian Park. Lots of other activities all wrap up with fireworks Saturday night after dark at Forester Acres Blue Sox Field. For information on all the activities, visit smithfieldrecreation.com. Months after a couple was shot to death at a Utah campsite, police have publicly identified a suspect for the first time. The Grand County Sheriff said in a statement Wednesday the man has since killed himself but confessed to the slayings before his death. Adam Pinkusowitz used to work at the same McDonald's restaurant as 38-year-old Crystal Turner, who was gunned down, along with 24-year-old Kylan Schulte. They were found dead August 18th in the South Mesa area of the La Salle Mountains near Moab. Police are releasing the suspect's identity now because they recently learned of the confession in which he mentioned specific details that had not been publicly revealed. And Utah Governor Spencer Cox has tested positive for COVID-19. His office announced today the governor took a test after developing a scratchy throat late Wednesday night. He plans to isolate for 5 days and wear a mask for 10 days. Cox says he's been vaccinated and boosted and feels fine so far. He had several public appearances Tuesday and Wednesday, but said few people were close enough to him to be potentially be exposed. The small number of people who were within 6 feet of him for 15 minutes or more will be notified. KBNU News Time is 5:38.
My name is Gloria Nadal, and I chose Roof Rescue. They exceeded my expectations because they were able to follow through with the insurance company, establish a rapport, and ultimately the insurance company took responsibility and paid for my roof to be replaced. The products that they used were top-notch. My roof is beautiful. I would recommend them over and over again. My name is Gloria Nadal, and I encourage you to choose Roof Rescue.
KVNU weather for tonight, mostly cloudy skies, mid-30s, and then partly cloudy tomorrow, lower 60s for the high with west winds 10 to 20 miles an hour in the afternoon. And then Saturday, mostly cloudy and around 70 for the high temperature. Right now we have 55 at KVNU. KVNU weather brought to you by Adams Wealth Advisors. They put clients first under any circumstance. You'll receive peace of mind with Adams Wealth Advisors. Schedule a time with an advisor today. Call 752-1702 or visit adamswealthadvisors.com. For more details on these and other stories, visit cashvalleydaily.com.
The temperature's warmer, and here at Alpine Home Medical, we couldn't be happier to serve you as we mark our 25th anniversary this spring. Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent, and I want to thank you for being the best customers over the last 25 years. We couldn't have done it without you. If you've shopped with us before, thank you. If not, we want to make sure that we're your one-stop shop for all your home medical needs. You'll find the most selection and best quality products. Check out our power scooters for better freedom to help you move around and get you where you need to go easier. With compression socks, CPAP supplies, and incontinence products, our resupply team ships discreetly to your home, where you need it, when you need it. You get it all in unmarked boxes to protect your privacy. Alpine Home Medical has 10 locations across Utah and southern Idaho to serve you. Visit us online at alpinehomemedical.com. That's alpinehomemedical.com.
Thank you for voting Adams Wealth Advisors the gold winner for Best Financial Planner in the Best of Northern Utah competition. Understanding your family, jobs, and goals is how Adams Wealth Advisors will continue to earn your trust.
This is Craig Adams. At Adams Wealth Advisors, we are here to help you receive peace of mind whether you've done a lot of planning or a little planning. Count on our team at Adams Wealth Advisors for honesty, professionalism, and integrity.
Visit adamswealthadvisors.com or call 752-1702 to schedule a time with an advisor today. Please see adamswealthadvisors.com for more information on these recent awards.
Friday edition, Clay Travis, Buck Sexton Show. Alex Berenson will join us for the latest on COVID, as now a fifth COVID shot is being recommended. What in the world are we learning there? Plus, we'll dive into the latest on the $40 million for Ukraine, the battle over whether or not parents at school board meetings should be investigated by the FBI, and more. It'll be the Clay and Buck Show. Come hang with us on Friday.
10 to 1 on News Talk KVNU, 102 FM and 610 AM.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. We were actually unable to get through to our planned guest for this segment. Teena, if you're out there listening, that's us calling. Teena Horlacher is planned or scheduled to talk to us about something coming up called the Utah Liberty Festival. We'd checked in. We had a little trouble with this on Tuesday. We're not able to get through to her, but that's been resolved. And Teena, again, if you're listening, the number you're seeing, that's us, KVNU calling. Join us, please.
And I left a message, too.
That's true. So. Bill left. And Bill's messages are always nice. Usually, except sometimes when he's irritated
except
with
when
me.
I call Jason.
Yeah, when he's irritated with me. Oh, man. It is, a lot of people chattering about this, which is kind of unfortunate. I get it. He's an elected official. But I'm always, just a little mini rant here. I'm always surprised when someone who disagrees with someone politics wishes them physical harm or illness or even death. Okay, death's too strong. No one's thrown out a death threat or anything like that. But Governor Cox tested positive for COVID-19, assuming this is the Omicron subvariant at this point, which the data suggests is the dominant variant nationwide and definitely here in Utah right now. Spreads far more easily, but is also even milder than Omicron as far as the data suggests, a number of hospitalizations and deaths at least. All good news other than, the part that it's still circulating aggressively. And hopefully that stops soon. But Governor Cox tested positive, as you heard in the news stories. Bill has been relaying during the breaks. He's feeling fine. He was around very few people after he was likely exposed and contracted the virus, and is planning to isolate for 5 days and then wear a mask for 10 days. That's the guidance that the health department offers if you do test positive. And although I wonder how many people are getting that message, a literal exchange that I saw on Facebook between some friends of mine who don't live here in Cache Valley, thankfully, but I was included in a group Facebook chat, and a birthday party was being planned for kids. And the host said, just want everybody to know I'm still planning to hold the party, but I did test positive for COVID-19. To which 23 other people in the chat said, you're still planning to hold the birthday party for children? So, yeah, and this isn't a reckless person. It was just didn't think about it, I guess. Anyway, that party thankfully has been canceled. You're welcome, kids. Not my fault, but I did watch the exchange happen. Anyway, my mini rant here. Some folks who don't like Governor Cox's politics, and these people are coming at him from the left. Basically, people who feel that the state didn't respond aggressively enough to COVID-19 throughout the last 2 years are, I'm seeing tweets and Facebook posts basically saying things like, well, good, he deserves it. I hope he has a really, really awful time with the virus. And can we all not be like this? Honestly, I mean, has it come to this? And if so, can we come back from this? I don't know. And the right's not immune to this either. I don't know. I don't know if it's the anonymity of social media. Some of these accounts aren't anonymous, though. I don't know what it is, but man, is it disgusting to see. Anyway, mini rant over. And we did hear back from our planned guests. So, shifting gears now to the planned topic for this segment. We have right now by phone our friend Teena Horlacher joining us. Teena has been with us before. Teena, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it was last fall when we last spoke.
Yes.
And you and your team are bringing a festival of sorts back to town a second time, right? Or is this the third time? No. Am I missing one? Is this the third time?
No, this is the second time.
Okay.
We did the We Can Act Liberty Festival. Yeah, we did the We Can Act Liberty Festival back in October. It was a huge success. I've had people asking me constantly, when is the next one? And so we've got the next one coming up right here. And this one is called the Utah Liberty Festival. So we are super excited to bring this to Utah, and it's going to be a fabulous event.
And this is planned throw out the dates for us if you can for listeners.
Okay, so this is going to be June 17th and 18th at the Maverick Center near Salt Lake City. The 17th is going to be a dinner and speaker reception. Will be more of an intimate event. We'll have Kash Patel. Kash Patel was Donald Trump's chief of staff. And also we will have Rear Admiral Chuck Kubik. And Chuck Kubik was the president's top foreign policy advisor. He has tons of experience. Right now he's down at the border. He's seeing what's going on there, and they're going to be sharing with us, some really intimate details in that kind of a setting where it's not necessarily being televised. And I'm really interested to hear what they have to say, because Kash is very aware of what John Durham is doing, and so there's just a lot of things that are going on. They're going to be able to help us understand what is happening.
And so,
June 18th.
Sorry, go ahead. I was going to say, is this planned? So, is this these dates that you're going through here? This is a day long thing, right? Not just an evening thing.
So, It's an evening, and then on the Saturday, which is the 18th, it will be a whole day event. We'll start.
Okay.
Doors will actually open at 7 a.m. because there's going to be a lot of vendors, a whole lot of vendors, and those kind of vendors are the fun kind, and the patriotic kind. And then we'll start the event at 9 a.m. and we'll just go throughout the day with speakers, and we'll end the day with a concert by the Nathan Osmond Band, which we're super excited about, especially those people who were with us for the We Can Act Liberty Conference know what Nathan did there, and he's got an amazing concert planned for us. But during the day, we're going to hear from people like David Harris Jr., and Congressman Madison Cawthorn, Lieutenant Colonel Matthew Lohmeyer. He's a Space Force. And, I didn't quite know if Space Force was a real thing, but apparently it is.
Sure.
Anyway,
not just a Netflix series, right?
Yeah, that's right. It's a real thing. And so he is going to be there, but he's actually going to be telling us about the wokeness that is going on inside the military and how dangerous it is to both the military and America. And he eventually was asked to leave the military because he was speaking out about it so much that they said, hey, we don't want you here anymore. So he's now telling the real truth about what is going on there. We have Tom Homan, who is, he was also one of President Donald Trump's director of ICE. He was also the National Security Advisor. And he is down at the border also. And really, that's how this event got started this time. I had a group of veterans come to me and say, hey, they had taken some dignitaries down to the border and been their security, and they were so appalled and disheartened by what they saw. They came to me and said, we have got to make people aware of what is going on at the border. So that's kind of how it started. And because it is veterans who, were behind getting this started, this event is going to be all about honoring our veterans. And so our veterans can come for free. And we want them to come. We want them to bring their families. And we want everybody to bring their youth, because we are recommending the age 12 and up, because we feel like the youth need to be aware of what is going on. They're going to be shouldering the burden for many, many years to come. We're not going to overcome what has taken place to diminish America. This is not going to be an easy fix or a quick fix. And the youth need to understand why this has happened so they can understand how we need to repair it. And really, this event is all about saving America. We want to shine a light on the dark, and we're going to understand what we need to do as we the people to save America.
The event, again, is planned at the Maverick Center. Everyone knows where that is, but if you're not familiar with the address, you can easily Google that. And it is, more information can be found. It was planned for from Friday evening to throughout Saturday during the day, June 17th and 18th, with things starting at 6:30 on Friday and then kicking off again at 9 a.m. on Saturday. Tickets range from a very affordable $39 general admission ticket to a $249 VIP dinner ticket, with some of the speakers that will be on the stage there at the dinner as well in a more intimate setting. The Utah Liberty Festival, Armor of Truth, is happening again June 17th and 18th in Salt Lake City at the Maverick Center. UtahLibertyFestival.com is the website, and also at that UtahLibertyFestival.com you can buy your tickets now in advance.
That's right.
And also find your organization on Facebook as well, if people would like to learn more. And Teena, always a pleasure to have you here on the show. Appreciate taking the time to do so. And we'll check in again soon as the conference nears, or even afterwards, and see what you and your group have planned next.
Yeah, well, I would love to be on again, because there's still a couple of speakers I neglected.
Go ahead. We've got a couple. We've got a couple more minutes.
Okay. I do want people to understand. We are going to be talking about January 6th political prisoners, people that are actually being held in prison without their constitutional rights, and we need to shed some light on that. Another area we're going to shed some light on is the Las Vegas mass shooting. We're we're told to believe that one man did that up in a 10-story high building, killing 58 people. It's just an unbelievable story. And if you were listening to the police monitors that night, you would know that that's not the real story. So we have Mindy Robinson, who is a former actress turned investigative journalist, and she's done an expose on the cover-up, and what she has to say is just explosive. So we need to know about these things. We need to not accept lies as truth. And this event is going to expose some things that we're not learning on the news. The news is doing a very poor job of reporting the facts and really are just doing a lot of opinion rather than fact news. So we're going to be shedding the light on a lot of things. We'll also have quite a few local speakers. We're also going to be talking about election fraud in Utah. And if you think there's not election fraud, well, go watch 2,000 Mules by Dinesh D'Souza, and you'll know different. And we really need to be aware of this, or again, we are going to be in serious trouble as a nation. We're not going to be able to fix these problems. And this is really an event that people really should come to so they can continue to find out about these things that they're not finding anywhere else.
Teena, appreciate taking the time. I can't agree with you on the election fraud here in Utah, unfortunately, but can agree that it's fun to see people organizing these events and getting people out and thinking and talking and getting involved. One of the biggest problems we have here in Utah, in my opinion, is low voter turnout. So get involved, attend events like this, think about these things, talk about these things, meet fun people like Teena, and be a part of it. UtahLibertyFestival.org again is the website. And Teena, always appreciate your time. Can't wait to check in again soon. I know that your organization, you've planned future events as well that you'll be announcing soon, and hopefully we'll have a chance to talk to you about those.
All right. I appreciate it, Jason.
Hey, appreciate your time. Always a pleasure. Our friend Teena Horlacher there on the line. And again, the website, I've linked to it on our Facebook page. But if you're driving now and would like to just make a mental note of it, it is UtahLibertyFestival.org. And you can buy tickets there. You can see descriptions of all the speakers Teena mentioned and more, and also get a look at their Facebook page and see what they have planned in addition to some of the keynote speakers. Again, tickets range from an affordable $39 general admission ticket to a $249 VIP dinner ticket. That's Friday night. So jump on these quick. Last time, I believe it did sell out. And thank you again to Teena. Thanks to our listeners for tuning in. We'll be back right after this.
Bring back what you've been missing. Bring back Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology.
Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology is Cache Valley's most trusted name in hearing aid technology. Schedule a free consultation with Dr. Paul Daines by calling 753-HEAR or visit cachehearing.com.
Bring back what you've been missing. Bring back Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology.
At Red River Health and Wellness Center, we utilize non-pharmaceutical approaches to help patients with challenging autoimmune and thyroid conditions. And because each person is unique, we design custom care plans that focus on the individual. Our goal is to improve health, well-being, and quality of life. We work in conjunction with your prescribing physician for an optimal outcome. Call Red River Health and Wellness at 855-55-RIVER, with offices in Logan, South Jordan, Springville, and St. George.
There's nothing like hearing the songs you love on local radio, with no subscriptions and no monthly fees. But there's a new bill in Congress that could stop the music. If passed, this bill would tax your local radio station simply to play the music you love. Text LOCAL to 52886 and ask Congress to support local radio stations. Help us keep you connected to the music, local news, weather, and traffic that you need each day. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Welcome back to KVN News for the People. Bill and I were just talking about something that I'm actually going to expand on this on tomorrow's show. And Bill didn't know that. That's why it's kind of fun that this popped up. But I've been reading a lot about media and how things are covered. And Bill just mentioned this with a recent news story. You know, sometimes the way breaking news is covered, especially if it's national news, you know, you can see a lot of irresponsible things happen. Public confusion is created, misconceptions that sometimes are never cleared up. And oftentimes it can actually put people at risk as well with erroneous information being thrown out. I'm reading a book about this, basically claiming that that zest for breaking news, especially when it comes to cable news, has turned a lot of the national media, especially, into glorified ambulance chasers, just waiting to get the breaking headline before anyone else does, oftentimes sacrificing accuracy and public safety even. Some of the stories in what I've been reading that have occurred around the nation, thanks to national media, especially cable news, were horrifying. We'll talk about it on tomorrow's show. Also, the For the People movie show with Andy Morgan. That's tomorrow on For the People. Dave